Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. In this video, we're looking at the four-game Saturday slate. So, thank you guys for tuning in. Only four games today, so not too much to talk about, but we'll still break it down nonetheless. Hopefully, you guys all had a good day yesterday. It was a pretty decent day, made out in double ups on DraftKings, thanks to guys like Vooch, who was low owned and dropping 65. Well, low owned for cash at least. I mean, it was like in the 20s. Percentage-wise, Westbrook did his thing at pretty high ownership, and then with Fox being announced out late, had to pivot to Halliburton and guys like that, which weren't as good as I thought. Which Fox definitely played because I definitely thought he could have exploded, but still made some money. And that FanDuel scored 321 as well, so pretty decent night overall. Let's get into this one. So as always, appreciate you guys to the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get started. I'll have a Daytona video out later tonight, so all you NASCAR fans out there, get ready. But let's get into NBA. So, four games, some injury news to monitor are the Utah Jazz. Mike Conley is questionable. He's missed the past few games, and that has really opened up the door for Jordan Clarkson getting big run off the bench. It's opened up the door for Joe Ingles getting a ton of shot attempts and playing great. So there is a lot to like with the Jazz if there is no Conley again, even though it's a back-to-back, but only 8 teams to target, I think the Jazz are definitely going to be one of them if there's no Conley. And then the Rockets are pretty banged up without Victor Oladipo, and PJ Tucker is questionable. If he happens to sit, then that's going to be a lot of minutes to go in the front court for probably House and Tate. And then you have Cousins at down to 6,500. He also looks good. So something to like with the Houston side. On the New York side, they lost Mitchell Robinson with a fractured hand last game. You have a great price tag on Julius Randle, and then you have a very nice tag on Nerlens Noel. So starting off here at point guard, though, we have Harden, Curry at 10,000 plus. I definitely go Curry over Harden, given the fact that Durant is back. The big three is good to go for the Nets tonight. Curry's been playing out of his freaking mind the past 2 weeks, dropping 60s, 70s, shooting 50+% from the floor on 30 shot attempts, 20 shot attempts. Been playing crazy. He's a tremendous play. He's my favorite guy to pay up for above $9,000. In the 8K range, it's Donovan Mitchell. If there is no Mike Conley, he looks like an excellent play. Playing a lot of point guard minutes. He's like last game against the Bucks, 3 minutes left in the second quarter. He had a whopping 4.5 fantasy points, and then proceeded to drop 45. Proceeded to go nuts in those final 3 minutes, and then in the second half, also put up a ton of fantasy points, even though he shot 6 of 20. So I think he looks like a great play. If there is no Mike Conley, I like Mitchell more than Brogdon, but both guys are somewhat in play. Wall looks decent at 72 without Oladipo for sure. Gordon looks fine at 58. And Clarkson is 54, so I'd rather go up to Mitchell, at least on DraftKings, but both guys are in play if there's no Conley. And then McConnell, nobody really plays him, and I definitely haven't been playing him, but he's actually been warranted. He's actually been making it a case to at least consider him in some because he's been getting good minutes off the bench and is a pretty good producer out there and just kind of does a little bit of everything. So that's mainly it at point guard. I definitely want to get a piece of, I think Steph Curry will be one of the guys I try to get to today at 10-1. Shooting guard, Andrew Wiggins, 64, looks somewhat appealing. Mitchell is my favorite play out of this group. Hero, surprisingly, he's back after being ruled out for protocol reasons last game. Joe Ingles priced up to 57, but a guy can shoot. If he's in without Mike Conley, he looks like a good play. I like him more than Clarkson. Don't like Alec Burks. I don't really. I mean, Lamb is fine, but he's kind of tough to trust him. He gives you a really low floor, so mainly for tournaments, not for cash games. And then you can go with the David Nawaba if they are super short-handed, or the Rockets. But I will definitely pay up and try to get to Donovan Mitchell. So those are a couple pay-ups that I like. Small forward, it's Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets. Playing good basketball, been carrying the Heat. They won, I think, 4 straight games. Triple-double last game. So, yeah, I said out in the last video, we'd probably get a triple-double soon, and it happened that game. So, good about that, because I did have him in my lineup. He looks okay. It's a tough matchup against Utah. But the price tag is still not up to where it should be for Jimmy Butler, the way he's playing and how much usage he has. Oubre, I like him, and Wiggins. They both look decent on DraftKings. And then like Ingles looks good. And then if you want to go cheap here, it's like Jayshawn Tate at 47 is definitely somewhat appealing, just because the Rockets are shorthanded, and um, especially if there's no Tucker, we'll get a lot of minutes in the front court. And then you have like Sterling Brown at 3,700, who should get some good minutes as well. So there are some few things to like with the Rockets here as some value plays. Seems like Nawaba has kind of taken a little bit of a backseat, at least last game. I don't know if he maybe got hurt. Only played 9 minutes, but Brown looks good at 3,700 if I had to pick one. So I think small forward, you definitely have some guys to look to at the top if you wanted to, with like Butler, go in the cheap range and 6K range. Or you can go cheap for like Sterling Brown at 37, which should get like mid 20s minutes off the bench, maybe more if there is no Tucker. So he looks appealing at that price tag. Power forward, I like Sabonis. Julius Randle looks excellent at 8,700 at that price tag. Collins also looks somewhat appealing at 7,300. Tate looks fine at 4,700. And then, like, you have the Brooklyn Nets pretty thin in the front court, so we could see Vonleh get some minutes here at 3,200, or you could see them just play Jeff Green a bunch. So I don't think they're either one, or like Pell could see some minutes here. But the Warriors also don't play a typical center for much. Just they play Draymond, who is definitely not a guy that you need to have a 7-footer against. So I think they'll probably just stick with Jeff Green. But the guys I think we can go to here at power forward are like Julius Randle at 87. That price tag is definitely nice on him. Or we can maybe go 9,000 for Sabonis. Maybe I'll go Sabonis because I do want to get to Nerlens Noel here at $3,900, who is going to start at center and play some good minutes here. Probably high 20s. Not the best fantasy producer, but he can get some blocks, and that can quickly get you some fantasy points. So against a guy like Demarcus Cousins, who I will also be targeting at 6,500, I definitely think you can go with both centers in this game with Noel and Cousins. And then I do like Capella as like kind of a pivot to maybe somewhat popular Cousins, or you can go to Gobert at 7,100. There are quite a bit of centers. Then you have Draymond 67, and you have Turner, who's cheap, although he hasn't been doing much. But I just think you definitely are gonna want to get to at least Nerlens Noel. And then Cousins, I like him just because price tag has finally come down, and he was on pace to have a monster game, and then he was in some foul trouble. But we'll see what happens tonight. So pretty much it for the DraftKings side. Go ahead and touch on my FanDuel plays. All right, on FanDuel here at point guard, it's Steph Curry at 10-8. Then you have Trae Young, and then you have like Kyrie. So out of the guys that are expensive, I still like Curry the most, then Trae, then Kyrie. I go Brogdon over Wall. Both guys look somewhat appealing at 72 and 75. And then you have McConnell at 54. Looks all right. Derrick Rose had a good game yesterday. He only played 19 minutes and he had like 30 plus fantasy points. And then like Nawaba's already up to 49, so he's not that appealing. I've been going with Steph Curry on DraftKings, so I might as well go with him on FanDuel as well. Shooting guard, Donovan Mitchell looks really good at 8,300. I like Wiggins a little bit at 68, just because I think he looks a little bit better than like Hero against the Jazz. Then I like Gordon over Lamb in the 5K range. I like Gordon and Herter about the same. You can go Herter if you wanted to at 55. But you have Clarkson at 47. If there's no Conley, again, that price tag is just tough to get away from. You can go with both him and Donovan Mitchell here. Or you can go with like maybe take a shot on Sterling Brown instead of Clarkson. But Clarkson gives you a ton of upside if there is no Conley. Small forward, it's Jimmy Butler at 9,000. Looks great. You have Oubre, just because the position doesn't have that many spend ups. You have Oubre at 6,600. And then you have Joe Ingles at 49. So assuming Conley sits again, then I definitely take a shot on Joe Ingles again. If they're without PJ Tucker and like House starts, he would be somewhat appealing at 4,700. So just gonna have to keep an eye on the Rockets news. And then you have Gallo at 4,000. He could sit on a back-to-back here. Well, they did get their doors blown off last night. We'll see what they do. Power forward, it's Sabonis at 96. Looks great, but then Randall's only 86. So probably take some savings and go with Julius Randle here. Or you can go down for a cheap play in like, I think Nerlens Noel is like $39 or $4,000. So he looks decent as well. Depending on who you have here, probably just go Randall for now. And then at center, it's a couple guys like Clint Capella. I like him a ton at 7,500. I think he's not going to get that much ownership. Then you have Demarcus Cousins at 6,200. So both him and Cousins look great on FanDuel. I do like Capella at 75 against like a team that plays two bigs a lot. So I could see Capella having a big game here. I would like to get him on DraftKings, but it's kind of tough with the salary. But FanDuel, I think you can make it work with Capella, or you can go Cousins. We'll see where I end up throughout the day once we get the Jazz news. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Best of luck tonight, and catch you all later.